What if I told you confidence isn't something you feel, it's something you do? You've been lied to about confidence. It's not about being fearless or loud or perfect. As Kierkegaard once said, to dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose one's self-confidence isn't a mood. It's a moment where you choose to move, even when it shakes you. You ever stood in front of a door, hand hovering, heart pounding, knowing you should speak, ask, apply, try, but you just freeze? Maybe it's walking into a job interview or pitching your idea in a meeting where no one looks like you, or simply raising your hand, and then that voice creeps in. Who do you think you are? You're not ready. So you step back, you shrink, you tell yourself you'll try next time, but next time feels even harder. Most people think confidence is something you have before you act, like it's a jacket you put on, or a gift some people are just born with. But Kierkegaard didn't see it that way. He believed confidence, true inner strength, comes after you act, not before people are waiting to feel ready, to feel worthy, to feel like they belong. But what if that feeling never comes? Kierkegaard believed that most people live in despair, not because they're sad, but because they're stuck trying to become someone else. They avoid risk, they avoid failure, they avoid themselves. They think confidence is about controlling the outcome, but it's actually about letting go. Here's the truth. Confidence isn't found in your head. It's built with your hands. Kierkegaard once wrote, the most common form of despair is not being who you are. Let that sink in, not being who you are. That's what kills confidence. Because when you try to act like someone else, wait for the right mood, or mimic the people who seem strong, you trade your real self for a version you think the world wants. Kierkegaard believed that despair isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It looks like procrastination. It feels like comfort. It hides in the dream of someday. He saw confidence as a leap, not a plan. He called it the leap of faith, not the religious kind, but the human kind. The moment you act without knowing how it'll end. The moment you commit, even if you feel shaky. The moment you become real. By risking rejection. Take Clara, for example, a junior designer, first big presentation. She spent hours preparing, still felt like an imposter. She told her manager she wasn't ready. He said, "You'll never be ready. Do it anyway." She did, and halfway through something shifted. She stopped trying to sound smart. She just shared what she really thought, what she knew. She left that room different, not because they clapped, but because she acted. Confidence didn't show up before she started, it showed up because she started. Kierkegaard would say, to be a self is to become a self. You don't find confidence in the mirror. You create it in motion. You step into the room, you open your mouth, you try, knowing you might fall. And that's the only way it grows. So what stops most people from making that leap? Kierkegaard had an answer for that too. Kierkegaard wrote, anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. Let's pause there. What a strange way to describe anxiety as freedom, but here's what he meant. Anxiety isn't proof that something's wrong. It's proof that you have choices, that you're standing on the edge of possibility, that you can go forward or back or jump or stay. That dizziness you feel before doing something hard, that is the feeling of being alive. That is the feeling of confidence being born. But most of us think something's gone wrong when we feel it. Like, oh no, I'm nervous, I must not be ready. Or this must mean I'm not cut out for this. No, it means you're in the right. replace what if you stopped running from anxiety and started listening to it? Here's a real-world story. A friend of mine, let's call her Nia, was invited to speak on a panel, her first ever tech conference. Big names, she almost said no. Why? Because the fear hit her like a truck. She started spiraling. What if I forget my point? What if they all sound smarter than me? But then she reframed it. She remembered this Kierkegaard idea that anxiety is the signal you're free to choose. So she chose to say yes. She wrote her notes, practiced, and when she got on that stage, she didn't speak perfectly, but she spoke honestly. She didn't try to sound like a robot. She sounded like herself. Afterwards, someone came up and said, I really needed to hear that you were the only one who made sense. She didn't kill the anxiety. She walked with it. Confidence isn't about eliminating fear. It's about acting in the presence of it. So here's a question for you. What's something you've been avoiding because you feel dizzy around it? Is it fear or is it freedom? Here's another quote from Kierkegaard that hits like a brick. Face the facts of being what you are, for that is what changes what you are. Most people skip over this, but it's the key. To everything you want confidence, then stop trying to become someone else and start telling the truth. Here's what he's saying. You can't grow into a stronger version of yourself by pretending. You can't build real confidence on a lie. Confidence doesn't mean being certain. It means being real. Let's say you're starting a new job. First week, everyone seems smarter, faster, sharper. You're tempted to fake it, talk in buzzwords, overcompensate. Nod along even when you're lost, but that kind of confidence, it's hollow. It cracks fast. Now imagine you walk in, and instead of pretending, you own where you are. You say, hey, I'm still learning, but here's what I do know. You're honest. Curious, grounded people feel that they trust it more than perfection, and paradoxically, that's when you begin to transform. You become someone who can handle growth, who can hold uncertainty without panic, who doesn't need to fake it to move forward. Now you might be wondering, okay, but what if people judge me for not being confident? Kierkegaard would say, you're not here to live someone else's life. You're not here to meet someone else's expectations. He believed the only real failure was never becoming yourself. Let that land for a second. Not becoming yourself, not missing the job, not blowing the opportunity, but missing you, the real you. Kierkegaard didn't think confidence was about dominating the world. He thought it was about standing firm in your own skin, even if your hands shake, even if your voice cracks, even if no one claps. Because once you stop hiding, you stop being afraid. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the refusal to hide. There's a real cost when we ignore what Kierkegaard teaches about confidence. When we wait to feel ready, when we hide from anxiety, when we try to be someone else instead of who we really are, we lose more than opportunities. We lose ourselves. I want you to imagine what that feels like. Year after year, avoiding risks, shrinking back, always holding your breath, because that slow, quiet loss is despair. Kierkegaard said it plain. Despair is the sickness unto death. That's not just a dramatic phrase. It's the painful truth about what happens when we don't act, when we refuse to leap, when we cover ourselves in masks. This despair isn't about sadness alone. It's about missing your chance to be alive, to create, to matter. And it doesn't have to be big. It could be a conversation never had, a dream never chased, a voice never heard. What's worse is that despair grows quietly. It becomes the background noise you stop noticing, but it's there deep under the surface. Ignoring confidence is not just uncomfortable, it's a slow death of potential. So what do we take from all this? First, confidence isn't an emotion you wait for. It's a byproduct of action. You create it by daring, even when you're scared. Second, anxiety is not a warning to stop. It's a signal that you're free to choose, that dizziness is the price of possibility. Third, stop pretending to be someone else. Face the facts of who you are. Own your truth. Even if it feels shaky today, the one thing you can do, pick something small, something that scares you just a bit, and do it anyway. Make that leap, because Kierkegaard reminds us life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. You won't look back wishing you'd waited longer to start. What's one small leap you can take today toward being you? I'd love to hear your thoughts below. If this video helped you see confidence differently, hit like, subscribe for more real talks like this. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching. Remember, confidence is created, not caught.